Jain children, welcome back to today's video class. Previous class we have studied the tools of recombinant DNA technology. In that we have studied about restriction enzyme. Today we are continuing with that portion. Next we are going to study the other tools such as cloning vectors, host cell, and last the process of recombinant DNA technology. First, cloning vectors. A DNA molecule that carries a foreign DNA into a host cell replicates inside a bacterial cell and produces many copies of itself, and the foreign DNA is called a cloning vector. Cloning vectors are the next important tools to restriction enzymes. Common cloning vectors are plasmids and bacteriophages. Following features are required to facilitate clone into a vector. First of all, a vector should have ORI, that stands for origin of replication. This is a sequence from where replication starts. And any piece of DNA, when linked to this sequence, can be made to replicate in the next cells. Second one, selectable markers. In addition to ORI, the vector required a selectable marker which helps in identifying the transformants and the non-transformants. A plasmid with the foreign DNA is called a transformants, and the non-transformants are the plasmid which does not contain the foreign DNA. In this plasmid, PBR322 consists of two selectable marker genes. They are amphisilin resistant gene and a tetracycline resistant gene. Cloning sites are present on this marker gene. For example, genes encoding resistance to antibiotics such as ampicillin, chloramphenicol, tetracycline, etc. are used as selectable markers. Next comes transformation. It is the process by which a DNA piece is introduced in a host bacteria. The next feature that a vector should have is cloning sites. These are the sites at which the foreign DNA is combined. Next comes another important point, insertional inactivation. Selection of recombinants using antibiotic resistant genes is a complex process. Therefore, an alternate method is developed. In this, the transformants or recombinants and non-recombinants are identified on the basis of their ability to produce color in the presence of a substrate. In this, a recombinant DNA is inserted in the sequence of the enzyme beta-galactosidase. This results in the inactivation of the enzyme and called as insertional inactivation. So, no blue color will be given by this type of bacteria. This indicates the recombination. Now, non-recombinants will give the blue color. Next comes the vectors for cloning genes in plants and animals. Some bacteria and viruses can be used as vectors for transforming genes. For example, Agrobacterium tumefaciens is a pathogen on several dicots deliver a piece of DNA called tDNA and transform the plant cell into tumor and direct the tumor cells to produce the chemical required by pathogen. The TI plasmid, that is tumor-inducing plasmid from this bacterium, now can be used to deliver genes of our interest into variety of plants. In animal, retroviruses can be deliver their DNA into host cell to transform them into concerned cells. So, the retroviruses can be used as vector if the harmful DNA can be replaced by the gene of interest. Next comes the third tool in recombinant DNA technology, that is competent host. That's for the transformation with the recombinant DNA. DNA being the hydrophilic molecule, so to pass it through the cell membrane, the cell is treated with a specific concentration of divalent cation such as calcium. The recombinant DNA can be forced into such cells by incubating the cells with the recombinant DNA on ice followed by placing them directly at 42 degrees Celsius and then putting them back on ice. The other method of introduction of alien DNA are microinjection and biolistic or gene gun method. In microinjection, the DNA is directly injected into the nucleus. In gene gun, the cells are bombarded with high velocity microparticles of gold and tungsten coated with DNA. These are about the tools of recombinant DNA technology. Next, we can study about the techniques or the process of recombinant DNA technology. It involves several steps. First one, isolation of the genetic material, that is DNA. Second, cutting of DNA at specific locations. Third one, amplification of gene of interest using PCR. And fourth, insertion of recombinant DNA into the host cell or organism. Fifth step, obtaining the foreign gene product, and the last one, downstream processing. The first step of recombinant DNA technology is isolation of genetic material, that is DNA. DNA should be obtained in pure form for the action of restriction enzymes. It is achieved by treating the bacterial cell with enzymes like lysozyme, cellulase, chitinase. DNA is intertwined with the histone proteins and RNA. The RNA is removed by treating with ribonuclease, while proteins are removed with the protease respectively. Other molecules are removed by appropriate treatments, and purified DNA ultimately precipitate out after the addition of chilled ethanol. Then comes the second step in process of recombinant DNA technology, that is cutting of DNA at specific locations. Restriction enzymes are used on purified DNA molecule at the optimum conditions. To check the progression of a restriction enzyme, digestion agarose gel electrophoresis is used. They cut out gene of interest from the source DNA, and the cut vector with the space are mixed and a ligase is added. Next comes the third step in recombinant DNA technology, that is amplification of gene of interest using PCR. PCR means polymerase chain reaction. It was invented by Carey B. Mullis in 1985. What does the term polymerase chain reaction indicates? Yes, it indicates it occurs with the help of DNA polymerase, which helps for the replication of targeted sequences. And this is a chain reaction because here the DNA sequence is repeatedly replicated. PCR is a cyclic process. It consists of series of 30 to 35 cycles. Each cycle is consists of 3 steps. They are denaturation, annealing and extension. Each cycle lasts for 3 to 5 minutes. PCR takes place in small polypropylene tubes known as PCR tubes. The reaction is automated by using an instrument known as thermal cycler. In polymerase chain reaction, multiple copies of the gene of interest is synthesized in vitro using 2 sets of primers. For doing polymerase chain reaction, there are 4 basic components are required. First, it needs a double-stranded DNA segment with targeted sequence. Here the copies of this targeted sequence is to be produced, and here both the strands of DNA are acting as template. The second thing which need for PCR is 2 different single-stranded DNA primers. Primers are short, approximately 12 to 24 nucleotide long. These are chemically synthesized DNA sequences. The third requirement is supply of 4 types of deoxynucleoside triphosphate. In DNA, there are 4 types of deoxynucleoside triphosphate. They are deoxyadenosine monophosphate, deoxyguanosine monophosphate, deoxycytidine monophosphate, and deoxythymidine monophosphate. And the last requirement is the presence of a heat-stable DNA polymerase. As this PCR is conducting at a high temperature, there is a chance for denaturation of enzyme. In order to withstand that condition, it requires a heat-stable DNA polymerase. And the polymerase enzyme which is widely used in PCR technique is TACU polymerase, which is obtained from a bacterium called Thermus aquaticus. This bacteria is living in high temperature and this enzyme can withstand high temperature also. These four substances like targeted DNA sequence, DNA primer, deoxynucleoside triphosphates and this DNA polymerase enzyme, all these will kept in this PCR tube and after that put it into the thermal cycler. Next we can study the different steps behind polymerase chain reaction. There are mainly three main steps. They are denaturation, annealing and extension. First, denaturation. During this step, the targeted DNA is separated as two strands under high temperature of about 94 to 98 degrees Celsius. This occurs due to the breakage of hydrogen bond. Second step is annealing or hybridization. In this step, the primer is a nucleotide sequence which consists of 10 to 30 nucleotides. This primer is attached on the 3' end of both the parental DNA strand. And this temperature which required for primer annealing is 40 to 60 degrees Celsius. Here you can see the parental DNA strand and the primer is attached on the 3' end of both the parental strand on its 3' end. Next comes the third step, that is extension. And the process occurs at 70 to 75 degrees Celsius. In this step, a new nucleotide is synthesized with the help of TACU polymerase enzyme. Polymerase enzyme which helps to polymerize new nucleotide. Here TACU polymerase is used as this temperature is 70 to 75 degrees Celsius. There is a chance for denaturation. In order to withstand that one, TACU polymerase are used. So this polymerase enzyme will do polymerization in 5'3' direction in both the strand and new nucleotides are synthesized and a new DNA strand is also synthesized. Thus, we will get two copies of DNA. When we observe these two copies of DNA, in each DNA, one of the strands should be the parental strand and another strand should be a newly synthesized strand. So after completing one PCR cycle, we get two DNA molecules. The end product of first PCR cycle are now used in second cycle. The first end product are two DNA molecules. Both the molecules are used in the second cycle. As a result, 4 DNA molecules are produced after the second PCR cycle. These 4 DNA molecules are used in third cycle and after the end of third PCR cycle, 8 copies of DNA sequences are produced. In this way, when we are completing each and every PCR cycle, its number is get duplicated. Next comes the applications of PCR. PCR is widely used in evolutionary studies. Then it is used in forensic analysis such as for paternity testing and crime investigation. Genome sequencing project also it is used. Then it is used to detect diseases and it is also used in agricultural testing also. After PCR, the next step is insertion of recombinant DNA into the host cell or organism. If recombinant DNA carrying antibiotic resistance, example ampicillin, is transferred into E. coli cells, the host cell is transformed into ampicillin resistant cell. The ampicillin resistant gene in this case is called a selectable marker. For obtaining the foreign gene products, the allele DNA gets multiplied generally to produce desirable proteins by gene expression. When protein encoding gene is expressed in a heterologous host, it is called a recombinant protein. To produce the product in large volume, bioreactors of volume 100 to 1000 liters are used. Bioreactors provide the optimal conditions for achieving the desired product using growth conditions, that is temperature, pH, substrate, salt, vitamins, oxygen. Commonly used bioreactors are of stirring type, which is usually cylindrical or with a curved base to facilitate the mixing of the reactor content. The stirrer facilitates mixing and oxygen availability through the bioreactor. In the stirred tank bioreactor, air can be bubbled through the reactor. A bioreactor has the following components. They are an agitator system, an oxygen delivery system, then foam control system, temperature control system, pH control system, and sampling ports. After the synthesis of the desired gene product inside the bioreactor, we have to separate them from the reactor, and that process is collectively called downstream processing. After this biosynthesis of desired gene product, it should be extracted from the medium and purified. The separation and purification are collectively referred to as downstream processing. It includes various steps. The first step is the desired protein is first extracted. Then it is purified. After that, suitable preservatives are added to it. The product now has to undergo through clinical trials. Then strict quality control tests are done for the product. The downstream processing and quality control testing vary from product to product. So these are all about recombinant DNA technology. Dear children, closely watch the video 2 or 3 times. Please ask the doubt through Zoom meeting. Thank you.